Hello again, everyone. It's Jeff Adler, continuing my video series that follows up my book, Why I'm Right 2.0, Chapter 13. We're going to talk about the Second Amendment. I spent, as an aside, I spent the entire last video telling you it was Chapter 11, when all along it was actually Chapter 12. This is proving the absolute DIY, do-it-yourself nature of this video series. We have phones ringing, I'm sneezing, I got dogs wagging their tail in front of me, I got the whole shebang going on, so I'm gonna go back and see if I can't edit some of this stuff, but in the meantime, if it does nothing else, it proves that this is really me and not some production. It's pretty obvious to most of you, but these are not, I'm not putting you on at all. This is, the real deal. Average guy's views on politics, as the subtitle of my book states clearly. We talked about the First Amendment a few videos ago, and I want to talk about the Second Amendment today. Second Amendment is basically the amendment about guns and militia. To start off, of course, it goes without saying that this is one of the most divisive issues we have going on today. The reason for this, I believe, is that the more that the left, liberals, progressives, what have you, radicals, attempt to overthrow our culture, our beliefs, what America is, what it means, the more they run into the Constitution head on, honestly. And it becomes an obstacle for them. And they have to work their way around it. And if they can't work their way around it, they try to subvert it. They try to misinterpret it. And they do this on purpose. Purposeful misinterpretation. Now, why is this necessary? Because the Constitution was created in a way to avoid, or try to avoid, what these people are trying to do. The liberals spend a lot of time trying to tell you how antiquated the Constitution is, how out of date it is. They spend a lot of time trying to convince you that the founding fathers could not have possibly known that how America would evolve, and that after a certain amount of years or a certain amount of time, all the stuff that they put into the Constitution would become obsolete, that it would become no longer relevant. And as such, who better than they should decide what the Constitution really means now, or should mean for today's society, that they themselves helped create and helped pull away from the values that we used to hold. I find that awfully convenient, which is to say that they created the society that's all gone haywire and away from the way we used to think. And now they come riding in on their white horse saying, we can solve the problem by changing the Constitution to fit the mess we made. That way they'll have the law on their side and the culture on their side, and we're trapped in the middle. Oh, goody. They're not stupid either. We have to recognize that our enemy, the left, my enemy anyway, is, malicious. They're my enemy when they do shit like this. Let's put it that way. They may not be, I don't think of them as the enemy all the time. I'm not Saul Alinsky, but, they are when they mess with my Constitution. That's when I draw the line. Well, that's not only when I draw the line, but it definitely, this is not the red line in the sand like Obama in Syria. This, to me, this is go this far and no farther. So what's the point about the purposeful misinterpretation of the Constitution? The point is that what do the liberals want? When they're really being honest, what do they want? Well, they want a top-down government. They want socialism. They want communism. They want something other than capitalism. They want something other than a government that's run by the people. The very thing that the country was made of and for, they don't want it. Which makes you wonder, well, isn't the simplest thing they should just go away? Get out, go find a country that does what they want to do, that allows them to live in the way they want to live? No. No. They have to screw with this country. It's not good enough. Those tinkering little hands we talked about, those idle little malicious hands, they have to mess with this one because they have to prove themselves right. And they have to do damage. As I've often said, the only way they can get somebody down here to be up there is to pull someone down, not lift somebody up. So in the case of America, the only way they can get America the way they think it should be is to pull it down, not to raise it up. The left's idea of maintaining the Constitution in the way it was meant to be is tyrannical. And that's what they're after. Tyranny. Power. Power over you. There's the most famous quote most Americans don't remember or aren't aware of because they're listening to left-wing media that our previous president made almost casually. Most amazing statement any president in the history of the United States had ever made. This isn't verbatim, but to this effect, and you can, again, look it up. He said he was lamenting that he could not, he was deterred by how much the Constitution stops him from doing what he wants to do. That there is so much in the Constitution that tells him what he cannot do. That's the point, idiot. When your president, a constitutional scholar, comes out and says that he was wishing, I guess, the Constitution didn't stop him from doing what he wanted to do, you got problems. The Constitution was written specifically for morons like Barack Obama. Now, Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is one of the most misinterpreted, on purpose, misunderstood amendments we have. Now, what the Founding Fathers were probably trying to tell us by making it the Second Amendment is maybe how important they really believed this to be. Well, what is the nature of the Second Amendment? Forget all the misinterpretation. Forget the weird syntax or punctuation that this amendment, how it was written, which is often a target of scorn, derision, and whatever from the left. Forget what the word militia means or what the word arms mean or what the whatever means. What's the reason behind the Second Amendment? Is that the Founding Fathers and the framers of the Constitution believed wholeheartedly that we have an innate right to defend ourselves, that we're born with it. Remember, all the Bill of Rights are an acknowledgement by our government that we were born with certain unalienable rights. The right to speak, but not be heard necessarily. The right to speak. The right to have any religion we want without the government interfering. The right for even a state to sponsor a religion. It only says the federal government can't do it. A state can do it, by the way. But whatever the rights we're talking about, they're saying that if you join in America and the social compact, then you run the government by changing the people in it and changing the laws through your representative that they write. It also means that you are asking a group of people to secure the rights you already have, understanding, as the founders did, that they did not give you these rights, you own them. They cannot be given to you by a federal government. You already have them. And you also know through the social compact that they cannot take them away. They're not theirs to take because they never gave them in the first place. Liberals have the hardest time understanding the difference between a right and a law. They think, they wish, the government gave you the Bill of Rights. They gave you these rights. They hope and pray that they can convince you that since they gave you these rights, they're not just acknowledging them, they gave them to you. That they can take them away, or that they can change them, or they can modify them any damn time they want. Wrong. You can't. Darn it, that stupid Constitution got in the way again. What are we to do? What are we to do? Convince everybody what's not true. Tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. Misinterpret the Second Amendment and all the other amendments long enough, people will start to believe it. Strip out constitutional studies and civics in school, in high school, and lower schools, and people won't learn it. The only place they'll learn it is from CNN, fake news company, or MSNBC. And then you've got them right where you want them. Legions and legions of clever, intelligent people who know nothing at all. What is the Second Amendment actually? And I will read. Second Amendment says this: a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Period. It is quite simple, but written in a way that makes some people think there's an opportunity here to pick it apart. Now, who are these people trying to pick it apart? Liberals, progressives, radicals, nutwings. Why? Why are they always trying to water stuff down? Why are they always trying to rip things apart, dissect it, and cherry pick the stuff they like and poo-poo the stuff they don't like? Why are they always doing this to our Constitution, to our Declaration of Independence, to our laws, to the whole fabric of America? Because they don't like America as it is. Because they don't like their place in America. They don't have enough power. They don't like Americans being in charge of their government. They think the government should start at the top. Like socialism, like communism, like just about every government style before America came along. The exception, America. Bottom up politics, free markets, free enterprises, capitalism, constitution, republic, constitutional republic is all anathema to getting what they want. It's all in their way. It's an obstacle that they think they can usurp, that they think they can get around or over or under or just change the meaning in the first place. And so they pick it apart and try to convince everybody that black is white, right is wrong, right is left. So what do they do to pick it apart? Well, they decide, like our friend ex-president Bill Clinton, determine things like what the word is. it gets into the weeds so much, it's almost laughable. The first thing they like to attack is what a militia is. A well-regulated militia. To them, that sounds like a standing army. A federally funded, backed, and run army. And only that. No one else is allowed to have guns if they're not part of the militia. Well, I got news for you, folks. That ain't what it meant. Remember, when you're trying to usurp the Constitution, you rarely think of it in the terms of the context of the times, unless that serves your purpose. The meaning of that at the time is different than the way the liberals try to convince you of today. A well-regulated militia is simply a group of people, citizens, that get together and practice being a militia. The expectation of our founders was that men, citizens, would jealously guard their own freedom. Just like the Constitution was set up, the government was set up with 3 co-equal branches of government. And each member of that branch would jealously guard their own power. If you piss away freedom, it will leave you faster than you can possibly believe. And men who once get a taste of freedom, and this is proven even today in other countries, once they get a taste of freedom, they do not want to give it back. They knew that the citizens of the United States, now that they had freedom from King George, would jealously guard it with guns if necessary, with rifles, muskets, and handguns, swords, whatever. And it would be almost their duty to do so. So, many of them did. They got together on a regular basis, monthly, weekly, biannually, whatever, and joined a militia, a local militia, whatever, and practiced marching, shooting, whatever. That's what the Constitution is talking about. Armed citizens, not a standing army. In fact, to even prove this further, many of the founding fathers and the framers of the Constitution spoke against having any kind of standing army in the United States in the first place. They believed, and I'll even write it. I'll even read it. Citizen militias were preferred over a national or state standing army to avoid the tyrannical use of such army against the citizens. In other words, they believed that the army, being an arm of the federal government, could be used against the citizens themselves in a tyrannical move whenever the federal government didn't like what the citizens were doing. Which, of course, it wasn't up to them to like or dislike what the citizens were doing, considering the fact that the citizens ran the government, not the other way around. The citizens were in charge of their own government, not the other way around. So they wanted to maintain that idea by avoiding even having a standing army or navy or what have you. They thought that the citizen militia groups that formed would be enough. Now, it turns out because of the foreign enemies and wars that we had to fight and whatnot later on, proved that to be untenable without much more mass coordination. But the understanding the right and the reason of the right and the way this was worded and why it was worded this way goes a long way in explaining why militias were meant to hold up the idea of armed citizens. We will talk about some of the other misinterpretations of the Second Amendment in our next part 2 of the Second Amendment. See you on that. on that one.